You didn't build your business to blend in. And in fact, you didn't start your business to blend in either. So why are you playing small? Today, I am going to share with you 5 subtle and maybe not so subtle ways that you are playing small in your business right now. Think of this as a mid-year reset. Sales season's coming up. The fall is often busy and very exciting. And this episode is an opportunity for you to start thinking big and playing big ahead of a busy engagement season. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. It's your host, Candice. I'm so happy to be with you today, and I'm so delighted that you're tuning into this week's episode. We're talking about playing small, something that no entrepreneur is immune to, something that I find myself cycling throughout the year. I have moments where I play really big, and then I have moments where I play really small. And I appreciate a good call out from my business coaches and my mentors when I'm playing it safe, when I'm shrinking myself, when I'm toiling away behind the scenes and not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know you appreciate the same too. So today's episode is what I like to call a little shank and cuddle, or really just a really thoughtful coaching session to empower you and excite you and get you thinking bigger and bolder in your business. Now, before we talk about the 5 signs that you might be playing small, I want to remind you that I'm playing big by hosting an AI workshop this month on August 27th. It's going to be a live workshop helping you define your brand voice. Part of what I think it means to play big right now in the wedding industry is using AI smartly in your business. I don't want you to blend in with a very canned, generic AI voice in your marketing, in your emails, in your copy. And instead, I want you to understand what your brand voice should be, to define it, and then to teach ChatGPT how to speak in your brand voice. So this brand voice AI workshop is something that I'm teaching for all wedding pros and for you, my dear listener of the podcast. It will be taught live and a replay will be available. So whether you can join me on the 27th of this month or not, I want to encourage you to go and purchase this workshop. It's only $17. I made it affordable, but not free, because I think that when you pay attention, and I'm not coming to you with free fluff. I'm coming to you with hard, concrete strategy that is going to save your butt this engagement season with your marketing, with your outreach, with your sales, with your client communication. You need to be in this workshop. All the details can be found at CandiceCoppola.com/workshop. We will link to it below in the show notes. If you have trouble finding it, just DM me on Instagram. I'll send you the link. I want to see you in this workshop. I taught this workshop to the students in the Planner's Playbook, and it was a massive hit. The women and men in that program were outrageously impressed with what I taught them and how I supported them in defining their brand voice, and the custom GPT that I gave them and that I helped them to create to get clear on how they should be speaking. And now ChatGPT is doing all the heavy lifting for them. And the best part is that they're not blending in on social media, sounding like everybody else who's using ChatGPT the generic way. So go to CandiceCoppola.com/workshop, sign up, register. Please try to join me live on the 27th. But if you can't, you are guaranteed the replay 24 hours later. So you can watch that when you have time and implement the strategies and use the tools that I'm going to send you. And you can also go back and watch it so that you can continue to learn the strategy and refine your brand voice. Okay, so I will see you in the workshop on August 27th. Now let's talk about playing small. As I mentioned, nobody in business is immune to playing small. And I think at this kind of midpoint in the year, we're 8 months into 2025. And with sales season, literally, we're on the cusp of engagement season. And I'm so excited for this year. I think that the sales season is going to be very revealing, if anything. And I hope that it's going to be really prosperous and profitable for you. But I really want to encourage you, whether you're stuck in a funk in your marketing, if you're stuck knowing you need to hire somebody and you have not taken the leap, If there's a big idea that you've just been sitting on, maybe it's a pivot in your business, maybe it's a shift in services, maybe it's a shift in your brand messaging, maybe it's a shift in who your ideal clients are, maybe a shift in your pricing. Today's episode is really a rally cry to get you to stop playing small. And I think the easiest way to do that as your business coach is to show you and share with you the ways that I see women and friends in the wedding industry playing small in their business. Having been a coach for thousands of wedding pros in the industry, I've helped thousands of business owners start, scale, grow, and even pivot their wedding industry business. And so these are things that I see as a coach, sometimes on a daily basis. And like I said, I'm not immune to any of this either. These are also ways that I show up playing small in my own business. So let's talk about the first way that you're playing small, red flag number one, and that is you're waiting to be chosen. I see this so often. You're waiting for the feature. You're waiting for the client inquiry. You're kind of like sitting on your hands waiting to be picked. You're standing in line in gym and you're waiting for the team captain to pick you. And I need you to stop doing that. You're waiting for a vendor relationship to materialize, for a venue or vendor to start referring to you. You are waiting for Instagram to notice you and to start pushing your content out to the right people. There's so many ways that I see wedding pros waiting to be chosen. And the cost of a waiting to be chosen, the opportunity cost is missed opportunities. You're missing out on those vendor referrals. You're missing out on powerful, resonant marketing. You're missing out on client inquiries. You're missing out on press and features and recognition that you so genuinely deserve. You're also diluting your brand presence. In fact, I feel like you're making your brand presence very foggy. And what I mean by that is people just aren't really sure who you're for, what you're about, who you serve, what soapbox you stand on, or what creative style you should be known for. People are not sure really who you are. And all of this leads to very slow growth in business. I think waiting to be chosen is the number one things that really holds people back from progress. Think about your business and think about maybe there was a time, if you're not experiencing this right now, where you were waiting to be picked. You were waiting for the phone to ring. And instead of waiting to be picked for whatever opportunity you desire, I want you to choose the opportunity for yourself. I want you to start choosing the type of business that you want to have, the opportunities that you know you're worthy of, the types of clients you desire to work with, the types of vendors that you want to collaborate with, be associated with, have your brand be alongside. And so instead of waiting to be picked, it's time for you to choose yourself first. And boy, let's be honest, this can be really hard. It's so much easier to toil away behind the scenes and keep reworking your systems for the 100th time. It's so easy to invest money in another rebrand, thinking that is what is going to help you be picked. It's actually much harder to choose yourself and to put yourself out there, picking yourself for yourself. But I promise you, and I am speaking from so much wisdom and experience, I promise you that when you choose yourself first and you don't wait to be picked, but you pick yourself, the opportunities write themselves. So tell me, is this a red flag for you? And are you playing small in your business by waiting to be picked, by waiting for the phone to ring, by waiting for the opportunity in your inbox? And maybe you sit around and you think, why isn't anybody calling me? Why isn't anybody picking me? I see all of these vendors in my market, maybe even outside, who are doing incredible things. They're collaborating, they're getting clients. On Instagram, it all looks perfect. What am I doing wrong? Well, I would challenge you that maybe the problem lies in the fact that you haven't picked yourself and you've got to work on your confidence. You've got to put yourself out there more and that you have to have some audacity, a little new girl energy, and put yourself out there. Okay, second red flag that you might be playing small in your business or that you actually are playing small is that you downplay your expertise. You feel self-conscious about calling yourself an expert. I need you to rein this in ASAP. Today's couple, Gen Z, they want experts. And in fact, they consider themselves experts, okay? And to be fair, they actually know a bit. I mean, they have been inundated with information on the internet their entire life. And at their fingertips is an answer to any question they could possibly have about anything, including how to plan their wedding and how to hire vendors and how to do X, Y, and Z. And you downplaying your expertise. And what I mean by that is you're using vague language about you on your website. You avoid sharing your accolades or the things that you have accomplished. You say things like, I'm just a wedding planner, or I'm just a photographer, or, I just like working with simple clients, or just like working on simple weddings. You're downplaying your expertise and what you bring to the table. If you don't believe in your expertise and what you bring to the table, why should a stranger hire you? Why should a stranger trust your authority? Why should somebody give you money to photograph their wedding, to do their invitations, to bake their cake, to design their wedding? Why? So the cost of downplaying your expertise and not stepping confidently into your role and owning your space. And by that, I mean saying you are the best. In your mind, even if you don't believe it, you're saying it out loud that you are the best planner in your market. You're the best invitation designer for your niche. You're the best photographer. You provide the best experience and feeling it deep down in your bones. The cost of not stepping up to the plate is confusion. People are confused about who you are, what you do. The cost is also undercharging because you don't believe in your expertise. So therefore, your price isn't going to match the expertise. You're going to undercharge for your services. You're going to downplay your price. You're not going to make enough money to survive in business. And then you know what happens then, which we don't want to happen. And you're also going to attract clients who don't value your work. They don't see you as an expert. They think they know more than you. They're constantly riding your ass. Where's this? When do we do this? What time are we supposed to be here? And I know you have experienced that. We all have, okay? Even the experts experience it from time to time. But the more you own your expertise, the less all of these things happen. The more that you own your expertise, the more people truly understand who you are, what you do, and your confidence creates confidence. It also means that you're confident in your price and you can raise that price very confidently, anchored in your value and in your expertise. You also attract clients who defer to you, maybe not all the time, but most of the time. They also trust your expertise and they value the work that you do. I mean, they have hired the best in the business. And who doesn't want to say that? Who doesn't want to say, I have the best business coach? Or, my hairdresser is the best hairdresser. Shout out to mine, Naomi. She is the best hairdresser. Who doesn't want to say, I hired the best photographer? Like they're world renowned, they're experts. Your clients want to say that about you, but you have to say that about you first. So here's a reframe for you around this. If you feel like you're downplaying your expertise, I want you to understand that your clarity in who you are and what you bring to the table, your awesomeness, your talents, the service you provide that's rooted in hospitality, that is organized and structured, your creativity, your art form, that is what creates demand. That is what makes people bang down your door to work with you. And I've seen this inside my mastermind. I'm thinking of a very specific client. They're actually a duo. They'll know who they are. Shout out to Maggie and Amber, photographers who have created incredible demand for their business. And there's so many reasons for that. But one of those reasons, and these ladies may not even realize this is a byproduct of their confidence in their expertise. That clarity in who they are, their amazing photography and who they serve, it has created an intense demand for their business. And now they're having to turn people away. People who were like, oh my God, no, what do you mean you're booked? Like we've been waiting a year to hire you. So you need to start owning what you know. And I promise you, it is so much easier on the opposite side of having confidence in who you are and what you bring to the table. You become a magnet for people who want to hire confident experts. And every couple that I know who is engaged right now, who is looking for a vendor, wants to hire a confident expert. So this is where you need to start sharpening your blade. I want to know, do you feel like this is where you're playing small in your business? Do you downplay your expertise? Most people do. It's because we're not raging narcissists. Like we're not out here, built to just talk about ourselves and to talk up everything that we do. Most of us are very humble and we're self-conscious and we feel a little bit like imposters. I need you to stop doing that. Even if you have to fake it before you make it, even if you have to put on fake confidence, over time, you are going to find that that fake confidence turns into real confidence. All right, red flag number 3, that you are playing small. You're still doing it all yourself. And this is a tough one. So many of you are drowning in work. You are drowning in emails, in administrative tasks, in simple and complex things. I see it all the time. And honestly, I feel for you. Running a team is difficult. It's not easy. So don't make it out to be easy, but you deserve help. And you are playing small when you resist hiring help, when you resist delegating, when you resist trusting others with your brand. And hiring help looks different for everybody. Hiring help for you could be hiring me to be your business coach, or hiring somebody else whose expertise you value to help you in an area of your business. But it could also mean hiring a VA to help you with emails, to help you with your back-end systems, hiring a lawyer to review your contract, hiring a bookkeeper, which is really a fundamental in business and should be one of your first hires. As you start to bring in money and revenue, you should be hiring a bookkeeper, even if they check on your books twice a year. You need somebody helping you with your money, your finances, helping you grow your business sustainably. Now, the cost of not hiring help, of not delegating, of not trusting others with your business is burnout, which you might be experiencing right now. Most wedding pros feel, in August, it's like you slow down just a touch and you're on the cusp of a busy fall. And we're just teetering in this anxiety, If that's where you are, it's totally normal. But burnout, also stagnation, just being stuck, not advancing, making changes and tweaks, but really just going nowhere, being stuck in the mud, but also being stuck in operator mode instead of CEO mode, which is a whole nother podcast episode, which I will absolutely record very soon. Operator mode being you are the operator of your business. You are the person, you are the all-powerful Oz behind the curtain. You are operating the theme park. When really there does become a point in your business where you need to start transitioning into more of the owner of your business. That doesn't mean that you get to skip over tasks that require your presence or require your expertise. You're still going to operate in some ways, but you could never really put on a CEO hat until you start moving away from being an operator and you start to delegate things out to clear up space so you can think about things, to have white space, margin, and also time to do the CEO boss things that we often neglect because all we do is operate. So that's the cost of doing it all yourself. And the reframe here for you is you need to let this be easy. Instead of making it hard for yourself, which is something entrepreneurs just love to do, we think everything has to be climbing Mount Everest all day. Let it be easy. Ask yourself, how can I let this be easy? It might be just simply simplifying a system or cutting out a service or reducing the workload that has gotten just out of control, complicated. But also you can say to yourself, I'm allowed to be supported. I'm allowed to have support. I'm allowed to have mental support, emotional support, physical support in my business. I'm allowed to hire somebody. And I refuse to believe that you can't afford to hire one person for 5 hours a month. Even the startups of startups can afford to hire somebody to help them in one aspect of their business. And it's an investment in the future and in the growth of your business. So if you're still doing it all yourself, that's a red flag to me that you're playing small. And it's time for you to step out of just being an operator and start to think like a CEO. I want to know, are you still doing it all yourself? And have you allowed yourself to be supported by others? Big one. Okay. Red flag number 4, you're underpricing because you're still undervaluing yourself. Now, pricing is such an emotional, difficult topic in the wedding industry. In fact, I feel like my industry, coaching, courses, pricing is so much easier. So much easier to arrive at a price because we often have a lot of volume. So we're thinking differently. But wedding pros, service providers, creative professionals, pricing is so difficult. And this is a red flag. If you are still undercharging, if you're keeping your prices low for now, if you are waiting from some sign from the universe, let this be your sign that it might be time to evaluate your pricing. If you are afraid of scaring people away, you are playing small. Because the truth is a new price will scare people away. That's the whole point. The whole point is to increase your price to match your expertise, to match the level of business that you've ascended to. And in doing that, you will scare people away. That is the point. But if you're stuck here, if you're stuck charging a rate that was 2 years ago, if you are stuck not moving over to a pricing model that you know could serve you better, and I am talking about my planners who should be charging a percentage, my photographers who should be charging a premium for your services, the cost of this is exhaustion, it is debt, it is resentment, and it's never being able to reinvest in your business or take a break. Because if you take one day off, money is not being made and the donuts are not getting baked. And that is not a way to maintain stability in business. That is a startup mentality. That is absolutely 100% the hustle, the grit, the late nights, the reinvest in your business startup mentality. But if you are in year 3 or more, and you are experiencing some of these things and you were underpricing, you need to stop playing small with your price. You have to increase it by just $100. I mean, give yourself just a small increase. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. Small increments is actually really powerful. It's something that we do inside WPI when women are on the cusp of needing that price increase and they're feeling unsure. Let's work on your confidence. Let's increase your price in small increments. So you get confident, you feel good, you sell it, you try it again, you increase again, you sell it. But you're at a turning point in your business, and the cost of exhaustion, of resentment, of undercharging, of being broke, of going into debt, of never being able to take a day off, because if you do, you're in the red. To me, that's not running a business, and is also not worth all the work you're putting in year 3, 4, 5, 10. So the reframe here is raising your prices isn't greedy, it's responsible. It's leadership. It is letting people know you're confident in the services that you provide, and your price reflects your confidence. And it's also the confidence that you can let go of the clients who no longer serve your business. And that's hard to do. But we have to do it because the clients that got you to this point may not get you to the next phase of your business, especially if you started your business and you worked with clients who were more on the budgety side, or you leveraged opportunities. Every client was a stepping stone into a better budget, into better service, which is what we all do. And that's completely okay. But you cannot stay there. You have to graduate. So I want to hear from you. Are you underpricing? And in today's market, it's hard to know because Some people raise their price and it's crickets. So there's so much that goes into a price increase. So much. I actually did a podcast episode on is it time to raise your rates? We'll link to that in the show notes below in case you haven't listened to it. And maybe you should go back and listen to it just to refresh your memory. Nothing that I shared in that episode has changed. So it's a great resource to go back and listen to. Okay, final red flag that you are absolutely playing small. And I see this every single day. You're avoiding visibility. And I have to be honest with you, visibility, marketing, putting yourself out there, this is the number one ticket to success. Without marketing and without visibility, nobody is going to hire you. And I see it over and over again. The pattern that I see from entrepreneurs and creative business owners is I'm going to work behind the scenes to prepare myself for visibility. I'm going to make all these internal behind the scenes tweaks. I'm going to do all the frameworks, all the groundworks, all the foundations, and then I will be ready to be visible. And what I watch time and time again is people stay in the background and they hide from visibility. And the truth is that you should be visible before you're ready. You should prioritize visibility before your new website launches, before you're ready to promote your new service, before your systems and your processes are ready. And I know there's some business coach out there who is telling you the opposite. And I appreciate their perspective, but they are 100% wrong. If you are playing it safe by toiling behind the scenes, and if you're also playing it safe on social, if you are posting intermittently, if you are not showing your face and your expertise and your confidence, if you're afraid to show your real voice and stand up for who you really are, if you're afraid to show your values or what sets you apart, you are playing small. And most wedding pros are. Now, the women that I have interviewed on the Power and Purpose podcast Behind the Brand series are perfect examples of women who do not avoid bold visibility. They are not playing it small. Do you think that they don't second guess their decisions? Do you think they don't cringe at having to show their face? Do you think they're not absolutely terrified to put themselves out there? Of course they are. Of course, they're human beings. Of course they are. But you know what the difference is? They do it anyway. Because the cost of not being visible is more painful than being visible. So let me tell you the cost, because this is what you're sacrificing by hiding and dimming your light and doing the bare minimum. You are blending in. We're scrolling the feed and absolutely nothing you post stands out. Nothing moves anybody. Nothing makes people stop and say, wow, look at that. You are attracting the wrong clients. You are attracting people at the wrong budget bracket, wrong stylistically, wrong personality. They want the bare minimum. They don't want premium. They don't want luxury. And you're feeling like your business doesn't reflect you because you're playing it safe. You are playing it safe. And guess what? We can all tell. We can absolutely tell that you are playing it safe. And this is the cost. The cost is your business is not going to take off the way you want it to. You're going to stay stuck in survival mode, and you're not going to build a brand that people recognize, that people talk about. Whether they're talking good about it or bad about it, at least they're talking about it. Now, the reframe here in avoiding being bold in your visibility is that people can't find you if you're hiding. And why should I hire you if you're not showing up to try to capture my attention? Like, if I'm a fish swimming in the ocean, why should I just jump on your boat and sacrifice myself? No, you got to throw me some bait. At least let my final moments be moments where I have, a worm in my mouth. I'm just nibbling on a succulent little worm. Let that be the final moments of my fish life. People are not going to hire you if you're hiding. And this is the biggest red flag that you are playing small. And I see it over and over and over again. And it frustrates me to no end because I know how talented you are. I know how much you have to give. I know that your unique voice, your style, your take, your approach is actually very necessary in this industry. Sometimes it feels like we only have a few popular people in every market who seem to grab up all the opportunities. And I don't like that. I think more people should get a slice of the pie. And by more people, I mean you. And so if you take anything away from this episode today, take away this. If you're avoiding being bold in your visibility, people are absolutely going to avoid hiring you. In this market, this is what it takes. And if you are an OG wedding pro, you've been in business 10 plus years, my, how things have changed. It is not as easy as it once was, and it's only going to get harder. And the people and the professionals who survive the next generation of business will prioritize visibility. And let me tell you, there's something I see all the time. People with half your talent are getting booked jobs because they know how to market their business, because they just prioritize visibility. And I have to ask you, what are you going to do about that? Are you ready to make this sales season one where you choose yourself, your business, your dreams, and you put yourself out there? I would love to know. Are you avoiding bold visibility? So let's break this down as we close out this episode, because the cost of playing small isn't just theoretical, and this isn't just scenarios that I've seen, but this is actually very tangible. And I believe that it's showing up in more than one red flag way in your business right now, whether you realize it or not. I want you to sit with these red flags today. If you do anything, hear me in your mind, ruminate on this, ask yourself, am I playing small somewhere in my business? Even a little bit, even a small bit. It doesn't have to be catastrophically like I've described. Maybe there are just some areas where you absolutely are playing small in your business. But ask yourself, are you playing small with your time? Because if you're spending hours and hours second guessing every single move you're making, you are playing small with your time. You need to start making decisions and executing those decisions confidently. Because the truth is you're either going to win or you're going to learn, okay? You're either going to make a decision and it's going to pay off, or you're going to learn a lesson, which then will help you make a better decision, okay? But you are absolutely paying with your time. Next, you're paying with your energy, because it takes so much more effort to actually play small, to suppress your ideas, to be in constant tinkering mode, to be behind the scenes doing all the things, to dull your magic, to dull your sparkle, and to also over deliver constantly for clients who don't get it and who don't appreciate your over delivery. I want you to know and hear from me, that takes so much more energy than just playing big. And I know you don't believe me, but I would not lie to you. I wouldn't lie to you unless it was for your own good. Okay, that's the truth. And I'm not lying to you on this one. And this is for your own good. It takes so much more effort to play small than it does to just step into who you are. You're also playing with your money, okay? And this is what drives so many of us. I believe there's power in your purpose. You know that. But we need reward back on our work. And that reward comes in many forms. It's not always about money, but money is a large part of this puzzle. And I'm going to be honest, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money and wanting to make meaningful money, okay? So when you're playing small, you're playing with your money. Safely pricing yourself. Safe prices attract safe clients. And safe clients, they're not going to build the wealth, the riches, and the brand that you want to build, period. I don't care what niche you serve. Safe clients, safe pricing is not going to create the life that you want. You're also playing with your momentum, or you're paying with your momentum. Momentum is so important in business. That's what keeps our engines moving, even when we second guess ourselves and we doubt. But you're playing with a momentum because indecision and invisibility are two thieves of progress. And they will come and they will rob you of what is rightfully yours, of the things that you've been toiling behind the scenes on for God knows how long, maybe years. Indecision and invisibility are two thieves that will rob you of progress. You're also paying an opportunity. So playing small, opportunity cost is huge. And I'm talking about the ones you miss and also the ones that are actually being given, but they're being given to people with half your talent. You might think that playing small protects you. And in truth, you're trying to stay safe. You're trying to be safe. and it feels safer to play small. It's very risky to put yourself out there, very risky to be fully yourself. But what it actually robs you of is your time, your creativity, your capacity, your impact, and so much more. So let me ask you, what has playing safe already cost you in your business? What has playing safe already cost you? Has it cost you clients? Yes. Has it cost you money? Absolutely. Has it cost you opportunities? For sure. Has it cost you not investing in yourself? Whether that's through a coach, through a therapist, through a counselor, through in your health. Maybe it is a conference or a retreat that you didn't attend. Maybe it's prices you didn't raise, an offer you didn't create and actually launch, a post you didn't share, a team member you didn't hire, an opportunity that you said, I'm not ready for that yet, even though you're very capable and very ready for that. What has playing small already cost you? And now I want you to imagine what happens if nothing changes after you listen to this sermon I have given you today. What is it going to cost you next year? Because it's already cost you, and that's sunk cost, right? That's sunk cost in your business. It's already transpired. But we do have this opportunity to impact and change what happens next. So what is this going to cost you next year in 2026? In revenue, in reputation, in how you feel waking up to do this work every day? What is it going to cost you? The truth is that the pain of playing small is more painful than the discomfort of being seen. And I know you don't believe me just yet, but here's where I want you to trust me on this and let today's episode be the turning point you need to start playing bigger. Let this be the moment where you stop gaslighting yourself, for lack of a better word, into staying safe and start choosing to go bold, even when it's scary, even when it's hard, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy, especially when it's imperfect. All right, friends. We've covered a lot today. I want you to sit with this episode, and every time you need a pep talk like this, you know where to come back to. You could also come and join me inside my mastermind, Wedding Pro Insiders, if you want to learn more about coaching with me and how I can help you with visibility and how I can help you stop playing small. Go to weddingproinsiders.com, sign up for the waitlist. I'll let you know as soon as applications open. We have a retreat coming up in November. I'd love to see you on my couch in Barbados, playing big, doing big things with a group of women who know what it's like to play small and who are just as anxious and nervous, but committed to playing big as you are. Now, final reminder, if you want my help in your business with your brand voice and using ChatGPT in a smarter way, here's how you can start playing bigger in your business is by adopting AI tools and using them smartly and using ChatGPT to help you with some gumption and audacity to play it bigger. I want you to go and sign up for our AI workshop on building your brand voice. All the details are at CandiceCoppola.com/workshop. You can sign up for it. It's $17. It's this month, August 27th. There's a replay will be sent to you in 24 hours. So if you're on vacation, I know it's Labor Day, leading into Labor Day weekend for all my US people. I know it's a busy times, back to school, weddings, all the things. If you cannot make it, a replay will be sent to you and you're going to want to grab it just because of the price. I will very likely sell the replay afterwards for 4 times the price, probably $97. So go grab it now, have it in your back pocket. Let's stop playing small. Okay? All right, friend, I want to remind you there's so much power in your purpose. It's such an honor to support you. Send this episode to a friend who you know needs to start playing bigger, and I'll see you in the next episode.